It seems like every reality show out there has that one judge who just doesn't know, well, how to be a judge. And this dude right here has rightly earned himself the title of being the most hated man on MasterChef. Now, trust me, he deserves every last bit of the hate. Now, this dude might have a whole list of experience to back his name. Starting from being an American restaurateur, winemaker, author, television personality, and musician, Joe Bassich seems to have a finger in a lot of pies. But guess what? I don't think I've ever seen anyone as arrogant, foolish, and narcissistic as he is on the show at any point. And remember all those titles I just mentioned he had? Notice how I never mention chef? Yeah, that's cause he isn't one. But for some reason, the show's producers thought that his wisdom would be more valuable than having another chef judge on the show. And you guys saw what happened, right? It completely backfired. Well, it did on the contestants at least. If you ask me, I think his time on the show was both painful for the contestants and the viewers too. Like in episode 10 of season 3, during the Tools of the Trade invention test, David was assigned a pizza stone as his tool. And the dude came up with a smoked lobster with oven roasted potatoes and bacon. And let's just say that Joe wasn't a huge fan.
I'm supposed to eat this? Really?
Of course, this guy wasn't the type who hands down judgment as it is. You see, he's not Joe Bassich unless he creates a little bit of drama. Which is exactly what he did when he went in for a bite.
Watching you cook this was just a letdown.
Oh, wait, he didn't stop there though.
And this is what you bring? This is the most important dish of your life, guys? You see this?
Yeah, this dude always has his 2 cents to share. And that advice is about as valuable as a pair of pennies, which is fitting. What's worse is that not once are you gonna feel like he's actually being a decent critic. If anything at all, Joe is just a big bully. And trust me, he's managed to perfect his bullying to an art form during his time on the show. It's almost like he's paid to do just that. The show's producers are well aware that his comments and criticisms are downright mean, and they still decide to keep him around anyway just for the drama and the potential ratings that drama brings to the table. And for someone who has no inhibitions whatsoever, the move he pulled next shouldn't come to much of a surprise. See what I mean? I'm telling you honestly, this guy has a weird relationship with trash cans. Every time he thinks a dish is bad, he throws it straight into the bin, not even letting others taste it. Well, that explains why home cooks often freak out when Joe steps up to the plate before Ramsay or Graham do. But you know what? His sour attitude isn't just restricted to the adults. He's actually way meaner with the kids on Masterchef Junior. And no, I'm not even kidding. Alright, so just pay attention to Joe's face here for a moment, okay?
My bar on dessert right now is super high, so I had to make it higher.
Yeah, he looks super pissed, doesn't he? But wait till you hear why.
Why did you decide to give me the one in the metal pan?
Like, seriously, man? Is that really what made you super mad, Joe? But here's the thing. During the challenge, as time was ticking, the poor kid was struggling with a metal panel.
Uh-oh.
I have to keep it in the tin, or there would be no tart on that plate.
Well, that's just a skill mistake he made right there, but Joe wasn't having it. He went absolutely ballistic, demanding to know why the kid decided to serve with that specific plate. And the poor little chef, under a truckload of pressure, tried to give it his best.
I didn't really decide to give you that.
No. Listen, Kwani. Everything in life is a decision.
At this point, Chef Ramsay was beginning to wonder what the hell was up with Joe, because the man showed no signs of backing down. He kept pestering the little kid.
Why me? Now, just beware, my friend, that every decision has ramifications.
On the contrary, this is how a judge is supposed to ask a question.
I know you had some trouble out there with your pastry crust. What happened?
It wasn't cold enough.
And do you want to know what Chef Ramsay said? Well, check this out.
Well done for not breaking down and disappearing.
Absolutely. Handling pressure in the kitchen, especially for a kid, is no small feat. The resilience and determination they show despite the challenges and being literal children are truly commendable. It's moments like these that highlight the incredible strength and skill these young chefs possess. Kudos to them for not giving up. But how would Joe understand? He's never had a formal culinary education after all. Anyway, you have to hear about what happened with Barry and Nakash on Masterchef Junior Season 2. So, these kids were presented with a mystery box challenge, and they were given 1 hour to cook up some fancy dish. Barry completely flopped, ending up in the elimination round. Now, when it came to judging, Joe decided to drop some beautiful lines.
You think you know it all? Then go cook it all yourself at home.
And as always, he's often got something more to share.
You're wasting my time, and I don't like to have my time wasted. For me, you're done.
Like, really, Joe? Instead of a simple here's what's wrong and here's how to fix it, he had to go full-blown drama queen mode. Like, couldn't he have just stuck to the important bits? And just when you thought he was done, he dropped another bomb.
Just hope you're not crying at home. Thank you for nothing.
Did you catch that? Thank you for nothing? Yeah. But oh, it doesn't stop there. He added this sassy twist like, hope you're not crying at home. Seriously, bro? The poor kid just lost. What were they supposed to do, throw a party? Joe was openly mocking this child and dropping the bombshell right before the elimination. Talk about being brutal. But how could he forget who it was being directed towards? Have some pity, man. However, guess what? Apparently, there's a reason why he acts the way he does. Since he doesn't really have the knowledge to judge a dish, he ends up saying mean things just for the sake of standing out from the other judges. I mean, look, there needs to be some reason that people should watch out for him, right?
Why do you need to deconstruct an apple tart?
Yup, that's just Joe throwing shade like it's going out of style. And let's not forget that Chef Ramsay was savoring every bite, wiping the plate clean, while Joe was just being mean for the sake of it. Maybe he missed the memo that good food deserves praise, not unnecessary criticism. It's like he was on a mission to be the Simon Cowell of the culinary industry. Yeah, I see you nod. Now, here's another instance to prove my point. So this happened in the final round of Season 6 of Masterchef Junior, when Benny whipped up his gorgeous deconstructed apple tartlet with all the bells and whistles. It had walnut crumble, apple brandy cream, and cranberry coulis. Sounds amazing, right? And then, this is what happened.
I'd like it a little bit more creamy or a little unctuous.
okay.
But aside from that, kind of perfection.
Well, he did have some constructive criticism to give, if you can call it that. But guess what? He was the only one who brought criticism to the table. On the other hand, the dish received only praise from everyone else.
There's not an element that's done with anything short of perfection.
And as far as Chef Ramsay was concerned,
That's not what a gentleman does.
I've never called myself a gentleman.
oh man, the famous chef totally loved those desserts. I never saw him doing that. And after relishing every last bite of it, this is what he had to say.
It's fragrant, it's delicious. To deconstruct something, you need to know at the other end, it's as good as the original.
Now, Joe, on the other hand, seemed to be on another planet entirely. Maybe taste buds are subjective, or he's just built different. It's something to think about anyway, especially when the GOAT Gordon Ramsay was thoroughly enjoying it. Taste, it seems, truly lies in the tongue of the beholder. But as it turns out, Joe wasn't just a jerk with the younger contestants. He also bordered on ableism too. Shocking, right? But hold on, it's not just talk, I've got the receipts to back my claims up. So, they're in the kitchen talking about Christine, right? Ramsay and Graham, being decent human beings, saw her skills, disability be damned. Graham even suggested putting her at the end of the line to finish off the dish with a kind of precision you'd only be able to get from her. And then there was Joe.
Definitely coat check room.
No, come on.
Seriously, Joe? I think you'd be a better fit in the coat check room, not someone like Christine who had insane culinary skills. Even Chef Ramsay was highly displeased with the suggestion. It was just plain disrespectful for Joe to undermine her talent like that. Not cool, Joe, not cool. And then came the jaw-dropping moment.
This is a live kitchen, Michelin-starred restaurant. She can't do it. She's a liability.
Unbelievable, right? Joe didn't even blink before throwing around the liability label at someone with an impairment. The dude's honestly written the book on being a terrible person at this point. Chef Ramsay, on the other hand, was just staring at Joe like he'd grown a second head or something. I swear, if there was an Olympic sport for looking down on people, Joe would take the gold spot. But guess what, Joe? Christine took the season of that very show you doubted her skills in. I bet Joe was shaken to his core. Maybe he finally learned not to judge a book by its cover, or in this case, a chef by their sight. Fingers crossed he won't make that mistake again, but who are we kidding? It's Joe we're talking about here. Anyway, it's not like Joe is absolutely unassociated with food though. Lydia, his mother, built her fame as a celebrity chef, and it seems like Joe picked up a bit of entitlement from his upbringing. American MasterChef has its fair share of over-the-top drama, harsh judging, and obvious product placement, so who knows? Since the whole planet knows Joe because of his mother, this is how he showed his respect to her.
I mean, like, even though she's like a professional chef, it doesn't mean that everything she cooks is perfect.
I really hope his mom never stumbles upon that video where he mocks her cooking. Maybe he has a point about her overcooking, but nobody else seems to share that opinion. Besides, if it's true that he has a set of particularly quirky taste buds, then maybe he can't really tell the difference between well-cooked and overcooked dishes. A Reddit user pointed out that people born into the lap of luxury and privilege often grow up to be awful people. Joe was admittedly a good businessman and foil for the nicer judges, but the reason he was a judge ultimately boils down to his personality. And I 100% agree. But he's also one of those jerks who's such a big embarrassment for Italians.
There's two kinds of people in the world. There's Italian people and people who wish they were Italian. That's it.
Joe and his unique way of expressing himself. It seems like he has a knack for stirring the pot, not just in the kitchen, but also with cultural remarks. When he says there are people who wish to be Italian but can't, it does sound a bit off. Like, for real, does he honestly think that Italians are better than everyone else, or what? I don't know, maybe he's got a flair for dramatic statements, or he's just in his own Italian-centric world. Either way, choosing words wisely has never been his strong suit. Joe could use a lesson or two in cultural sensitivity, that's for sure. It just doesn't make sense for him to say this to a kid who probably was confused, as if he wasn't allowed to make an Italian dish or something. Anyway, what Chef Ramsay had to say about that was epic.
My shoes are Italian.
Now, of course, Joe did say a few positive things, and then suddenly he switched gears and went on to say this.
If I wanted to put on an Italian burger, this would be a terrific example. Bravo.
Ouch. Now that is Joe's style of criticism for sure. But wait, it gets even more wild. Claiming that European cuisine is superior is one thing, but doing it while tasting Asian dishes in front of a bunch of Asian viewers? Now that's a whole new level of jerk attitude. It seems Joe's not just a culinary critic, he's on a mission to stir some major cultural conflicts. Let me show you how.
When I heard that you were doing something Asian, I was a little bit surprised, first of all. I just don't think it's the right kind of mushroom.
Well, okay, not the right mushroom, but what's next?
These mushrooms are definitely scream something Eurocentric, either French or Italian or, something much more refined.
Joe and his flavor of criticism. Eventually, he threw shade at Betty's mushroom game, suggesting it wasn't refined enough, whatever that meant in Joe's Eurocentric dictionary. Someone commented that Joe is very biased when it comes to Asian cuisine or any other cuisine that was a part of his childhood memory. The fact that he considers French and Italian cuisine more refined than Asian just proves that he doesn't deserve to be on Masterchef. And yet again, the guys in the comments are right on the money. But that's not all, here's another moment where he was super racist.
What you did is take Vietnamese flavors, manipulated them, European Michelin-starred dish.
What a damn jerk! Yup, he was back at comparing two absolutely different flavors, all the while having Christine, an Asian chef, right beside him. And then he took things one step further by saying this.
You have starred European restaurant food versus hawker stand street food.
Seriously, Joe? He kept the Eurocentric comments coming, labeling Josh's European dish as restaurant food and Christine's Vietnamese creation as street food. Like what? Many viewers commented that street food isn't a bad remark, but whoever knows Joe, they'll probably use street food as an insult anyway. And I couldn't agree more with the statement. Another comment said, as a Vietnamese, I was so proud and happy to see Chef Ramsay appreciate and highly rate our dishes. And in reverse, it was just disgusting how Joe said that our dishes were just street food. Well, yeah, a $1 bowl of street food can make a person full for half a day. Hope there's something in his European food list which can do that. Oh yeah, one of the strongest comebacks I've ever come across. But let me know what your take is in the comment section down below. Meanwhile, just when you think it couldn't get any more cringeworthy, he confidently declared that pasta didn't exist in China. Cue the collective facepalm from viewers. Like, ever heard of lo mein? And let me tell you, it's not just us, even Chef Ramsay couldn't stand him. Take this situation where a home cook whipped up an Italian dish and Chef Ramsay was raving about it. He loved how robust the sausage looked, and he found the bean stew underneath to be fantastic. Even Graham chimed in, praising the toasted slice on top for its rich flavor. But then it was time for Joe, who went against Graham for this very reason.
Yeah, I disagree. I think the toast cheapens the dish.
Whoa, take it easy, bro. And do you know what his reply was when Chef Ramsay asked him whether he would serve garlic bread in his restaurant?
There's no such thing as garlic bread in Italy. So I think it cheapens it, it makes it less than it could be.
What a surprise. He didn't even taste the bread and the whole dish before giving his absolutely unhinged criticism. And let me tell you, Chef Ramsay was so pissed at him at this point.
Would you like a garlic?
No, I don't want any garlic bread.
You're such a snob.
And that's not the end of it either, because Chef Ramsay didn't fail to lay down the positive remarks.
That is delicious. The garlic bread, I absolutely love.
I love Chef Ramsay for that. Now, trust me, a lot of viewers were ready to rip Joe apart over this, even wanting him out of MasterChef in general. People have and are still calling him out for his complete lack of knowledge about, well, anything. But once again, turns out the drama in the kitchen wasn't confined to his on-screen persona. Celebrity chef Mario Batali, along with his business partner Joseph Bassich, ever heard of him, had to cough up a massive $5.25 million to settle allegations of tip skimming at their restaurants. And guess what? It might just be the grand champion of New York wage and tip suits, covering around 1,100 past and present employees. Now that is one hefty bill to pay, even more than what the Lenny's sandwich shop chain shelled out last year. Looks like Batali and Bassich had to eat their words after publicly declaring they'd fight it tooth and nail. Reality check, the law had other plans for them. After settling the tip skimming allegations, Joe was accused of pushing Babo workers to retaliate against those who filed the suit. Classic move, right? And then there's the gem of a statement he made about never opening another restaurant in New York. Blaming money-hungry lawyers and calling lawsuits frivolous? Talk about a bold stance. But surprise surprise, neither Bassich nor Batali had much to say when asked for a comment. Their lawyers kept it real vague, stating, "The matter has been resolved to the satisfaction of all parties." I guess that's legalese for "let's move on, nothing to see here." The settlement, awaiting a judge's approval, was apparently cooked up during an all-day mediation session last year in Manhattan Federal Court. Now, this wasn't just a small dinner party's worth. We're talking about a settlement that could cover a hefty crowd. Anyone, and I mean anyone, who worked at those restaurants from July 22, 2004 to February 14, 2012, in roles like captains, servers, waiters, you name it, might be in for a slice of the $5.25 million pie. With 10 named plaintiffs and an additional 117 joining the class action case, it's quite the star-studded lawsuit. The total eligible for the settlement? A whopping 1,100 people. 8 eateries, a record settlement, and a whole lot of legal drama. That's the recipe Mario Batali and Joseph Bassich served up. All in all, Joe's behavior on the show and outside is seriously questionable. I mean, criticizing contestants is one thing, but being racist, Eurocentric, ableist, a plain old bully, and even a tip skimmer? That's just out of line. His judgments seem more like noise than legitimate criticism. But what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you're enjoying this discussion, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and don't forget to turn on post notifications for more content like this. Check out my latest video right here, since trust me, it's wild. You won't want to miss it.